Okay, hi everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Wendy Worm with the Maryland Tech Council. Today we're going to hear from Mackenzie Vernetti. She's a Director of Partnering Operations with Biotechnology Innovation Organization. And Mackenzie is going to go through the partnering system. This is a 101, so everybody can make the best of their bio partnering experience at our conference, which once again, it's October 3rd and 4th at the Bethesda Country Club. I'm going to turn it over to you, Mackenzie. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Wendy. Hi, everyone. It's great to be here with you today. Like Wendy had said, my name is Mackenzie Vernetti. I work for Bio as the Director of Partnering Operations. Just to start, I want to mention that we will have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar, so make sure to pop all of your questions into the Q&A section of Zoom. And we will also be recording today's webinar and sending that out via email once that is ready to go within a few business days. All right, so moving on to the webinar. Here is a bit of an agenda to give you an idea of what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to start with a partnering overview. We'll talk a little bit about the event itself and what to expect in terms of partnering meetings. I'll go through some partnering tips and best practices so that once you get into the system, you can be using those to kind of guide you. I will give you a quick and dirty system demo live here on the webinar today, as well as go through some on-site partnering tips and touch on the mobile app. And again, as I said, we'll be saving some time at the end for Q&A, so please do submit your questions as we go along. All right, so for the partnering overview, if you're new to partnering is 30-minute business-to-business meetings that happen at the event. Really, you go into the system early, send and accept meeting requests, and then that way you arrive on site with a plan. We do all of the scheduling for you. You just need to let us know when you're available for meetings and do your outreach. That way you get your most, you can maximize your ROI while you're at the event. So a little bit on the event structure, because it is a little bit different this year. Monday, October 3rd and Tuesday, October 4th will be the in-person event at the Bethesda Country Club with your typical sessions, program, lunch, networking, everything you're expecting at the Bioinnovation Conference, alongside on-site partnering meetings from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then we take a break on October 5th, and we're back on the 6th with 24 hours of virtual partnering for all attendees with Zoom links provided by Bio. So if you have any virtual meetings that are scheduled, you'll just be able to go into the partnering system and click that link and go right into your meeting. And we'll talk a little bit more about these virtual meetings as we go through. All right, so what's new? And really, we're going to drill down on the differences here between the in-person and virtual partnering at the event. So like I said, in-person meetings October 3rd and 4th, that Monday, Tuesday. We're taking a break on the 5th, back on the 6th with a full day of virtual meetings. Meetings will be scheduled and rescheduled by Bio starting on September 19th, which is Monday. If you attended this event last year when meetings were all virtual, I believe that was self-scheduled. So we're going to pick up that work for you this year again and continue with scheduling and rescheduling meetings for you. We also have the Partnering mobile app back and better than ever, also equipped with join buttons in the app for your virtual meetings. So really a good best practice if you plan on using your phone to join virtual meetings, you want to make sure to download the Zoom app as well so that you get a seamless transition from the Partnering app to the Zoom. However, definitely best practice, use your desktop, try to use a microphone. That's kind of going to be your best bet in terms of good audio visual for those meetings. And then one major difference that you're going to see in the partnering system is these attendance tags, which really lend themselves to accurate meeting scheduling. So depending on how you've registered for the event, if you're registered in person to be there on site with us at the Bethesda Country Club, you're going to have the attendance type in person and virtual. This lets you take advantage of both in-person and virtual partnering meetings, and you'll see that in your partnering calendar. You'll be able to open up times across all 3 days. For those of you who might be attending virtually, you'll see that you can open up times on October 6th for virtual meetings, and by default, all of your meetings will be scheduled virtually. Should you log into the system and check this and see that it's wrong, it's incorrect, different from what you were expecting, or maybe you need to change your attendance type, please do contact us, because this indication right here does affect how your meetings are scheduled. So we want to make sure, especially prior to meeting scheduling, which starts on Monday, that we get all that squared away in case you need to make any changes. And then we also have an improved homepage layout for easy access to key information. And I'll show you what that looks like when we get into the demo. Okay, and we'll drill down on these partnering hours and what virtual partnering really means for this event. So practically speaking, when you log into the partnering system in your partnering calendar, you're going to see 2 time zones. And I wanted to make sure to point this out so that you don't get confused by the differences here. The one on the left-hand side, which is EDT or Eastern Daylight Time, is the conference time zone. And that's going to be there regardless of where you are located at this point in time. So if you plan on being on site with us for your meetings on that Monday and Tuesday, make sure you're referencing that Eastern Daylight Time when you're opening up your availability for meetings. On the right side, you'll see another time zone, and that's going to be your local time zone. So if you're located in California, it'll be PDT. If you're located in Maryland, it will be EDT as well. So you'll kind of see both time zones there. This is important if you're attending virtually, because you want to make sure that you're updating your availability for meetings based on your practical availability. So if I was based in California and I was attending this conference virtually, I might not necessarily want to open up the 9 a.m. Eastern time slot, because that's 6 a.m. for me. I might want to wait for a couple hours before I'm opening up that availability. So just keep that in mind when you're in the system, changing your availability for meetings. A good tip is to also set aside time for sessions. We actually have the full conference program in the partnering system right along the partnering calendar, so you can easily add sessions and program to your calendar as you're planning your availability. And then just a reminder that your calendar does default to fully unavailable. So when you log in, nothing's going to be listed as available. You'll have to open up times that you want to make available for meetings. And then on to some tips and best practices. So really there's 5 core steps to partnering overall. The first when you log in is to create and update your company's profile. And I say update because if you've been to this event in the past few years, or you've been to another bio event recently, we import your company's most recent company profile for you, so you don't have to start from scratch. But do note that year over year, some of that information can get out of date. Let's say you filled out some news on your profile a year or so ago, that might need to be updated. Same thing with any drug assets you've added to your profile, you might need to update your asset phase. Just keep those types of things in mind, because that does affect the search results that you come up in when people are searching for aspects of your company. Second would be to input your calendar availability for meetings, and do keep it current. You can go in at any time and update it. So as things change, if let's say you have an offsite meeting you have to run to, or you need to take a quick call, make sure to make that time as unavailable on your calendar so that you don't have meetings scheduled during that time. Third would be to search for potential partners and send them customized meeting requests, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Do note that we do add companies to the system daily as they register, so definitely check back often for those new additions. For this to manage your message center actively and often, so your message center is really going to house all of your incoming and outgoing meeting requests. So you want to check your message center pretty often to respond to incoming requests as well as check up on your outgoing requests and maybe send some replies. And fifth, really kind of a freebie, Bio is going to schedule your accepted meetings. We will start that process on the 19th, and we'll be scheduling them pretty much on an hourly basis up through the conference. Once we get there, the auto scheduler will be running about every 10 minutes or so. So you'll get pretty quick turnaround for newly accepted meetings, as well as any meetings that need to be rescheduled. And for some best practices, the first is to really personalize your meeting request subject lines and messages. And this is really important. It does take a bit of work, but you get out of it what you're willing to put into it. So we see that those who send more personalized meeting requests do tend to get quicker responses, and more positive responses, and end up having more topical, productive meetings on site. So really keep that in mind. Sending a meeting request with these subject line meeting requests is very similar to sending an email with the subject line email. So really think about your recipients. They're going through their messages, hopefully on a daily basis, if not weekly. And as they're looking through new requests, you want yours to stand out. So really keep that in mind when you're sending these meeting requests, as well as making sure that you're then taking advantage of the body of the meeting request to explain why partnering with your company is a good idea. It's worth it for that person to accept your meeting request, and really talk more about your offer, but be specific to the audience. Don't just copy and paste in marketing copy. You want to be speaking to that specific company that you're trying to reach. Second would be to make sure that you're completing your company profile. So there are many different fields in the company profile. We'll touch on some of them during the demo, but you want to make sure that you're filling out both text fields as well as certain pick list fields, because people will search differently. Some will search on keywords, some will search on very specific therapeutic areas. And if you haven't selected that therapeutic area, but it applies to you, you won't come up in their search results. And you can also take advantage of full asset, service, and market product profiles. You can add an asset to your company profile and fill out very specific information regarding that asset or service. And then people can actually search on that specific asset as well. So keep that in mind as you want to increase your visibility in the partnering system. And then also use the advanced search to find more relevant companies faster. I'll kind of walk you through some of my favorite search filters that tend to be very helpful in making your search more efficient and effective. And then respond to all of your meeting requests. And this is important. Some people do decide to not respond to meeting requests if they would otherwise decline them. They think that maybe not declining a meeting, they think that maybe declining a meeting request is rude, or they don't want to necessarily offend the person who sent it to them. Whatever the case is, I do find doing customer service for all of these events throughout the year that people get more annoyed or think it is more rude when they don't get a response from someone, regardless of what the nature of the response is. So keep that in mind. You definitely want to make sure that you're responding to all requests, even if it's a decline. And this also helps you too. So by responding to requests as they're coming in, it makes it a lot easier for you to see the requests that are newly incoming that you still need to respond to. And fifth, open up more time slots on your calendar if you do have an accepted meeting that has no mutual availability. The system will actually show you in your message center if a meeting request can't be scheduled due to lack of mutual availability. There will be a bright red indicator on the meeting request for both sides of that meeting, so that it can signal to you to go in and open up some more time on your calendar. If a time slot becomes then mutually available, that indicator will disappear and your meeting will be scheduled in the very next round of scheduling. Should you go in and try to open up time slots and you're still seeing that indicator, please feel free to email us at biopartnering@bio.org, and we can try to help you out as well. And right before we get into the demo, I wanted to point out some key system features for you to keep a lookout for. The first is automatic Outlook invitations, and it's really automatic email invitations. What this does, the system will actually send you, as you're a meeting participant, when a meeting gets scheduled, it'll send you an Outlook invitation or an email invitation, much like a colleague would for, an internal meeting. You can then accept that and it'll be added to your Outlook calendar. And the best part is that when that meeting gets rescheduled, let's say the location changes, let's say maybe it gets canceled last minute, or rescheduled again even, you'll get those updates to your Outlook. So you'll get them as they're coming in, rather than having to go back into the system and reference your calendar to see if there have been any updates. You'll just get those automatically via email. And that's really key for on-site as well, to keep you as on the ball as you're going between different meetings and different sessions. You can also add a link to your LinkedIn profile, to your delegate profile that will render as a clickable button to those who are viewing your profile from the outside. So it directly takes them to your LinkedIn. So that's a good way to increase your visibility as a delegate on behalf of your company. Many advanced search filters are available for you to quickly find potential partners. And like I said, we'll go through some of my favorites. You can share your contact information directly with companies of interest on those meeting requests in your message center. So if you're meeting with a company or you have a meeting request with a company and you want to send them your direct contact information, you can do so easily with the click of a button. And I'll show you how to do that when we get into the demo as well. And then one thing I pride myself on, and I pride our system on, is how easy we make it to access your data. So there are a variety of exports on the search page, on your calendar, as well as in your message center to make it easy for you to get data associated with your company and your company's meeting activity, as well as the conference as a whole. So we'll go over those as well. And then you have extended access for 1 year for follow-up and exports to the partnering system. So while once we get to 11:59 p.m. on the last day of partnering, so on October 6th, you won't be able to send a new meeting request. Any meeting requests you currently have at that point, you can reply to. So definitely make sure that you're sending as many meeting requests as you can to the companies that interest you, knowing that you can then reply and follow up after the conference is over. All right, and with that, I will switch over to the live demo. All right, let's make sure I'm in the right spot. Perfect. So this is the page, the home page that I was talking about, our revamped home page. This is what you'll see every time you go to log into the partnering system. You have company information pertinent to your company here along the left-hand side. This is really more of a dashboard visual that gives you kind of quick access glance to everything that's happening in the profile, as well as the delegates that are listed underneath your company. On the right-hand side here, we have, our partnering system sponsor. We have information about scheduling. I have links to our tutorials, helpful information, and things like that. And then in the middle, this is the main part of the homepage change here, is this quick access to important information that we want to make sure is front and center for you. So right now we have some important information about hybrid partnering at the event. I have information about this webinar today. We will update this to include the link to the webinar as well as the slides when they are available within the next few days. And then we also have some partnering FAQs. This may change from time to time depending on the information we want to make sure is conveyed. So definitely look for updates here every time you log in. And then elsewhere on the home page, you have quick access to all parts of the account. You have the profile, search, calendar, and message center. If you know a very specific company that you want to send a request to, you can send a very quick request here. You can access your bookmarks from this top right-hand corner, as well as if you click on your delegate headshot, or if you haven't uploaded a headshot yet, this will be a kind of a gray silhouette. This is where you can edit your personal profile. If you're registered for another bio conference or you came to this event last year, you'll still be able to access that event if you go to switch conference. And then you can also update your notification preferences here as well. And just to show you this, because I mentioned those Outlook invitations or those email invites, when you go into your notification settings, what you want to make sure is on is this iCalendar updates part here. This is on by default. So if you haven't changed your notifications preferences yet, this will be on for you regardless. But if you are really keen on having those updates sent to your email as those meetings are scheduled and changes may happen, definitely make sure that this is on so you can get those. And with that, we will go into the first part of the profile, first part of the account, which is your company profile. One thing I want to know before I dive too deeply in here is that this is obviously a demo company for demo purposes. I have the profile as unpublished because I don't want anyone sending this company any meeting requests or getting confused. So I have this hidden, so it's not published. So one thing I want to make clear is if you unpublish your profile, let's say you want a colleague to take a look at it before you want it visible for everyone to see, you need your marketing team to look at it, or you're making final touches, that's completely fine. Just make sure to publish it as soon as you can so that your company is searchable, people can find you, and they can send you meeting requests. Okay, and within the profile, like I said, there's many different text fields that you can use, as well as certain pick lists that are really helpful for those who are using the advanced search. So keep that in mind as you're deciding what to fill out here. Some important aspects would definitely be the company type. You can add the keywords to make your company more visible as people are searching based on text. Brief description is also very key here. You have a limit of 255 characters, and it actually gives you the little countdown here as you're doing that, as you're filling that out to let you know. This brief description is really important because on the search page, as someone is, let's say someone has run their search and they're scrolling through the list of companies. That brief description is what displays right here. So, as someone's going through their search results, you want to make sure that you have a brief and succinct kind of overall view of your company so that they can have a quick reference and potentially send a new meeting request right away from the screen, or maybe bookmark your company. So just keep that in mind as you're completing your profile. Other helpful fields are licensing objectives, these therapeutic areas that I referenced. These trees actually go pretty deep. So you can keep it very general or you can go very specific. I would say definitely do both as it's applicable. Financial information is always helpful. Make sure to add your company URL because that's clickable from the search page as well. Country is also very important. Country and state, definitely important for a conference based in the United States. A lot of people will search also based on geography. So and just a point on searchability here. If someone was in the search page and they were filtering for a biotech or pharma, let's say that is based in the United States, that works in inflammatory disease, or has an asset that works to solve an autoimmune disease. If that all applies to you in general, but you don't have that information listed on your profile, you're not going to come up in their search results. So that's why it's really important to put as much information on your profile, but also accurate information. Because if it's not accurate information and someone's pulling you in to their search results, you might get a meeting request that it doesn't really apply to you. So you really kind of want to keep it as accurate, but as full of a profile as you can. And then here we have the separate asset profiles. So you can add a specific drug asset here, a specific service, a specific market product, and fill out very specific fields geared toward that asset as well. And this is all searchable too in the search. People can actually search for specific asset types, specific asset phases, clinical indications, all of that. So make sure you're filling out these as they apply to kind of your attendance at the conference and kind of what your goals are for the conference itself. Your delegates will be listed here. Anyone who's registered for the conference from your company that's also in partnering, they'll be listed here. You can add your management if you'd like. This doesn't create an account, but if you want to add your CEO or CFO, you can do that here just for visibility. You can also add rich media, so PDFs, PowerPoints. You can click this button to embed a video from YouTube as well. Just keep in mind that this information is all downloadable and viewable, so you want to make sure that you're not uploading a confidential deck here. All right, and with that, I will move on to the calendar because that should be the second place that you go after you check on your company profile. All right, so with the calendar itself, like I said, we have the dual time zones here. I'm based in Washington, D.C., so my time is also going to be Eastern Standard Time. So that's why I'm seeing these kind of duplicative here. Your calendar is unavailable by default. I've already kind of updated my availability here, but you can update the entire day by clicking on change availability, or you can select specific time slots to mark as unavailable. However you want to do it is totally fine. Then make sure that you're going throughout the different days of the conference. So you want to update the 3rd and the 4th if you're there in person, and then also make sure that you're updating times on the 6th as well for virtual meetings. And because it's a virtual day, and because there will be people attending from a few different time zones, we've opened up the entire day, so 24 full hours in Eastern Standard Time, to really make it about as easy as we can to find availability across a few different time zones. So keep that in mind as you're updating this, as you're updating the Thursday here. You might not want to mark the entire day as available. You know, maybe you are an early riser and you want to open up to 6 a.m. Please, as much as you can open is useful, especially as other delegates might be in different time zones, as I mentioned. And then we also have the conference time, or the conference program here on the right-hand side, where you can easily reference and also add these sessions to your calendar. So to do so, just click this add button. And the system will actually ask you if you want to keep that time slot as available or not. So if it is a session you definitely don't want to potentially have meetings during, take advantage of that and mark that time as not available. You can also add personal notes to your calendar. So if you have a lunch meeting or you have a call to get to, you can add this directly to your calendar and mark that time slot as unavailable as well. And just to kind of show you what meetings are going to look like once we start scheduling on Monday, in-person meetings will look like this in the dark blue. They will have a specific table number, and you'll also obviously see the company that you're meeting with here. Virtual meetings also look similar to in-person meetings, but you'll have the join button as well. So you can join directly from your desktop here. Okay, I think that's it. Oh, now we're going to go into exports really quickly. So here you can very easily print your calendar or export your calendar. So if a colleague wants to see what meetings you have on site, you can do that here. You can export in PDF or Excel. If you want a full list of your company's meetings, you can do that here as well. One thing to note, this ICS file is not the same as the notifications that we talked about previously. This is a static file. So if you wanted to download this, it will open it up into your Outlook or your email calendar as a separate calendar. But if you want to make sure that you're getting those updates, definitely make sure that your notifications are on. And I would just disregard this unless you really do want just that static file. Should you want to change your automatically detected time zone, which is detected by your browser, you can do so here. Just takes you to your personal profile where you can change that information. And with that, I will go over to the search. So once you've updated your calendar availability, you need to have at least one time slot marked as available in order to send or accept a meeting request. So keep that in mind before you start doing any outreach. Definitely want to make sure you're at least telling us some of the time slots that you're willing to take meetings. On the search page here is, once you go to the search, this gives you the entire list of companies that are attending the event. And this gets updated daily with new additions as they're registered. If you wanted a full list of all of the companies attending, you just go to the search page and you click this export link up here. It will download an Excel file of all of the companies. You can also do that for delegates. Just click on delegates and then click export. Same thing for assets, same things for market products. You can use the search bar here for a quick search based on text. And then we also have the advanced search here, which helps you kind of drill down on some very specific. So if you're looking for a biotech or pharma company that, let's say, what's a good one? Let's see, works in cardiovascular disease. You can filter this list and it gives you those 5. And then you can export your list to Excel. You can also save your search. So you can save your search as new. You can also rename it if you'd like to something very specific. And then when you log in, the next time, you can actually, from the home page, reference that saved search, and it applies those filters very quickly for you. A couple of other advanced search fields that are very helpful are previously met companies. So if you wanted to isolate the list by companies that your company hasn't met with yet in the last couple of years at the Bioinnovation Conference or at another bio conference, you can filter by no, and that will give you everyone new. If you wanted to look at potential companies that you might want to follow up with, just filter for yes under the selection. Let's see, if you are running a search often and you want to check back every day or so to see companies that apply to your search results, but you want to filter those results even farther by companies that have been recently added, you can do so here with company registration date. You can filter by last two days, since yesterday, or you can even apply a custom filter for specific dates. This is probably one of my my more favorite search filters to make kind of your everyday maintenance of your search and your outreach more effective and more efficient. And then also, if you've gone through the company, if you've called the company list a couple of times and you've made some bookmarks, the best way to export your bookmarks is to go to the search page, select company bookmarked as yes, and then that will give you the list here, and then you can easily export using the export link. Actually, I'm going to clear this search. Also in the advanced search, how I mentioned, you can search based on specific asset types. So if you wanted to see which companies have assets that are an antibody, protein, or peptide, you can do that easily here. You can search for the companies that this applies to, or you can actually view the full list of assets as they are. Okay. And now we're going to move on to the message center. Oh, actually, no, I'm going to go back 1 second to show you a quick. So once you've done your search, if you've found a company that fits the bill and you want to send them a meeting request, you can bookmark them here. You can also click the new request button to send them a new request from this page very quickly. You can also, once you've made your bookmarks, you can access the bookmarks from up here and then send a quick media request to those bookmarks using this quick button. Okay, and now on to the message center. This message center is very much like your email inbox, but it's shared for your entire company. So if you are registered for this event with a few colleagues, you're all going to be under the same company and all going to have access to these same meeting requests. So it really allows you to collaborate the most effectively this way. You can all attend the same meetings together. You can divide and conquer. Having one centralized message center makes that very easy. And it also works a lot like your Outlook or email inbox. You click on the specific request here on the left-hand side and opens up in more detail on the right. You have some filters here on the left-hand side. So real quick, if you wanted to filter for all incoming requests, so requests that your company has received that are requested, so in requested status that you haven't yet responded to, you can easily apply these two filters together and have that list. So that makes it a bit easier for you to go in and vet those new requests that are coming in and accept and decline them as necessary. All right, you can also export your message center here using this export link. Any filters that you apply along the left-hand side that will also be taken into account for the export. So if you filter the list and then you click the export link, it'll give you that specific list as well. That can be helpful, especially if you're sharing information internally to figure out what your targets are coming up. All right, once you have an incoming meeting request, to accept it, it's pretty easy. You click the accept request button. You have the ability to write a message if you'd like. You can add linked resources, which these are on your profile, so that any assets you've added to your company profile or any PDFs or other content you can attach right here as well. And then you just click to accept one more time, and then your meeting's accepted. And we'll start scheduling, like I said, on Monday. So if you have accepted meetings now, they'll start to appear on your calendar starting on Monday next week. And then if you have any meetings that have no mutual availability, this is what the indicator is going to look like for you. And like I said, if you go into your calendar, open up more availability, this should disappear. If there are time slots that you've opened up that now match with the other company, if this indication remains and you need a little bit of assistance, we can't give you the other company's availability. We can't tell you exactly when they're available, but we'll work with you to try to figure something out and give you some hints on what times you may want to open, or maybe we can move a meeting around to accommodate. So just feel free to contact us and we can help you with that. Let's see, scheduled meetings. You can also view all of the scheduled meeting info in your message center as well. You can get, if you have a virtual meeting, you can click the Zoom link from here as well. You can see the meeting participants from both sides of the meeting. You can see what their attendance type is. So if you have a meeting with anyone who has the virtual attendance type here, that meeting is going to be virtual and it is going to take place on Thursday. So keep that in mind. And then you also have the body of the meeting request and that kind of the email chain effectively here. So you get all of those updates all in one spot. And if you wanted to share your contact information directly with this company, that is this button here. You just click it, share yes. It gives them your email and your telephone number. What you do want to make sure in order to use this effectively is you want to update this on your profile. So if you go into the company profile, click on your name, it's this information down here. This is not visible to anyone just looking at your profile from the search. This is internal only unless you share it with a specific company via the message center like I just did. So don't worry, we're not giving out your contact information. So feel free to fill that out. It's all safe. It's kept private. It just helps you easily follow up here should you want to do that. And then once we start scheduling, we know that your availability might change. A meeting might be scheduled at a time that you're no longer available or you don't think is, you kind of want to move some things around. That's completely fine. In order to do that, you just have to let us know that you need to reschedule. So you just go into your message center, you find the meeting, and then you click request reschedule. You can type in a message if you'd like. Our team tries to manually reschedule as much as we can so that we have our eyes on it. So if you wanted to move it to the other day, write that in the message here and we'll try to accommodate if there's mutual availability. Then you click request reschedule and it puts it in a pending reschedule status. What this does is it keeps it scheduled at the original date and time until it can be rescheduled. And as the auto scheduler is running in the background starting on Monday, it's going to keep rescheduling as well. It's just our team will check back to try to make sure that if you have any specific preferences, that those are taken into account as well. So once this is scheduled or rescheduled, it will appear again with a new time and date and location, and it will go back and it will say scheduled just like this meeting does here. Okay, I think we're good. I think that got across all of the main points, but definitely we'll continue to take your questions after I finish the rest of the PowerPoint here. Okay. Moment while that loads. All right. So on-site partnering tips. Some of you may be just returning to your first in-person event since COVID. So wanted to make sure to outline some tips here for you, but these can be helpful for anyone looking to attend on-site. One is definitely add your delegate headshot to your profile in the partnering system to make it easier for those in-person introductions. I definitely saw this at the past Bio International Convention and how well this worked. You can actually view the profiles of those that you're meeting with in the mobile app, and we were seeing people actually look at that on their phone to see if they're passing by that person that they're potentially meeting with in the next time slot. Let's say you're waiting for the table to open up for your meeting coming up in a few minutes, and you see that person nearby also waiting. You can make a very quick introduction and get the meeting started off early, so that's definitely helpful. For your most current schedule, definitely would recommend using the mobile app or your Outlook or email calendar if you've been getting those notifications, or your partnering system calendar. Don't rely on pre-printed versions. We've seen people that will print out their schedule a day or two in advance and bring it on site with them, or their assistant will craft an Excel version. That can be helpful. However, it can often be out of date. We do still, and this goes into the third point here, we do still schedule meetings on site. There are reschedules that happen all of the time. There are some last minute cancellations. So you want to make sure that you have your most updated schedule with you, and definitely the mobile app and your email calendar are the way to go. And then again, Bio does continue to schedule newly accepted meetings even while we're on site, so don't hesitate to send or accept new requests, especially if you're attending Monday and Tuesday, because if you run into a company that you're interested in meeting, send them a meeting request. If we can't accommodate it Monday or Tuesday, we can likely accommodate on Thursday virtually. And if all else fails and there's no other availability, you still have that year from the end of the conference to follow up and exchange contact information and still get a meeting to happen, even though it might not be happening at the Bethesda Country Club. And then also make sure that if you need to have any meetings rescheduled, that you're requesting those reschedules directly in the mobile app or the partnering system. It's definitely the most efficient, quickest way to get those changes made. And speaking of the mobile app, it is now available in your App Store, Google Play Store for download for free. And it really allows you to do a lot of things that you would otherwise do in the partnering system, but a lot easier, obviously, on your phone when you're going from meeting to meeting on site, like get your up-to-date schedule. You can send a new meeting request from the app. You can view the profiles of the companies that you're meeting with, as well as access your entire message center and messages. And like I said, request rescheduling for meetings. You can even update your availability. So download the app as soon as you can to get acquainted with it. The login information is the same as you would use on your desktop for the partnering system. All right, and with that, I think I left about 15 minutes for some Q&A. I don't know if we'll need all of that time, but we'll definitely pop in here and see what we've got. I have one question so far. How do you search for participants? Great question. So let me pop over back into the partnering system. So you can search for participants, and on the search page, you could just go to the full delegate section here. And if you click on delegates here and go to the advanced search, it will pull up any advanced search filters for delegates specifically. Like I said, you can export the entire list or a filtered list. And you can search by name if you'd like, or by company. If you find a company that you're interested in, sorry about that, clicked on the notes section. If you find a company that you're interested in and scroll down to the bottom of their profile, any delegates that are attending the event will also be listed on that profile. Okay, do we have any other questions? All right, it looks like we might not have any other questions at the time.
Thanks, Mackenzie.
Yeah, of course. Let me just share this last and final slide. So if you have any partnering questions, feel free to email us at biopartnering@bio.org. And then also Wendy's available for questions as well, but anything partnering related, especially when it comes to scheduling meetings or accessing the system, please feel free to email us directly and we'll work with you.
That's a lot of great information. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, my pleasure. And yeah, so we'll have the slides and the recording out as soon as they're available.